Good morning, all of you. Hope you're all good. Welcome back to another session on human capital formation. In the last class, we talked about the importance of human capital formation, what is its role in overall economic development of the country, and not just increasing anyone's income. Today, we are going to see the other side actually. What are the problems associated with human capital formation? Whenever what is the problem associated with this process of increasing the number of people who would be skilled, educated and healthy. So we are going to discuss a few problems. Let us start with it. First is insufficient resources. The resources allocated to the formation of human capital have been much less than the resources required. The percentage of expenditure which is actually required to be spent on education and health, it is much less than the resources required, and due to this reason the facilities for the formation of human capital have remained grossly inadequate, insufficient. The resources which we require to spend, I just see this Indian government to support this. You can see the stats. Indian government spends 1.28% of GDP on health sector as per 2017-18. Just imagine, 1.2% of GDP only is spent on health sector, which is considered as one of the basic necessities for any person, whether poor or rich. But and it is US and the world, in the entire world, which spends the most on the public health, 18% of GDP. So this is a very contrasting figure. If you relate it to the present situation, yes, there have been the maximum number of deaths in the US due to COVID-19. It has surpassed China, it has surpassed Italy, all the other countries, despite spending a huge proportion of their income on health sector. But I think right now the situation was not about spending on your health. It okay, somewhere it is about, because getting treatments and all that, so you should be having all those facilities to treat people who have been suffering from COVID-19. You should have enough ICUs, enough testing kits, enough beds in the hospitals to treat those people. But it was more about social distancing, which had to be done in due time. If there was no social distancing, then the problem would definitely aggravate, no matter how much you have been spending on your health sector. So right now you should not be just relating to this scenario. Actually, the person that it is not like that, what if we are spending 1.28% of GDP, we have been able to control it? Because yes, we have been able to control it, yes, we have been able to treat people in time, but it was more about announcing the lockdown in due time. It was taking this wise decision, which is again another side of human capital, that is being educated and skilled, taking decisions in the right time, taking wise decisions. So I hope you get my point. Insufficient resources, that this is from the point of view of Indian health sector, that or education sector, for that matter, that facilities for the formation of human capital have remained grossly inadequate. We have been spending just 1.28% of our GDP on health sector, and uh, to add to that, I would like to tell you that India's aim is to raise the percentage of health expenditure as a part of GDP to just 2.5% by 2025, and that too by 2025. Indian government aims to raise its expenditure on health sector by 2.5% total. So right now, if it is 1.28 or something, somewhere around 1.3, so their aim is just to raise it to 2.5%. Indian government spends a lot in its defense sector and all, but education and health are left behind for that matter. So the figures are very low. Also for education, we are spending just 3 to 4% of our GDP on these two sectors. But if we had private sector, then obviously the figures will be higher. This is the share of government expenditure on GDP. Okay, going to the next problem, serious inefficiencies. There is a lot of wastage of society's resources, as capabilities of educated people are either not made use of, when they remain unemployed, we see, okay, whenever there is human capital formed in the country, now the wastage happens if these skills and if this knowledge which is acquired is not made right use of, is not made due use of. So people are either unemployed, they have, if you see the data in India, the rate of educated unemployment and unemployed people is more as compared to the as compared to uneducated unemployed, because unemployed people, educated uneducated people, because of having less options to choose from, they choose whatever the work they are getting, any manual unskilled labor they are ready to do. But educated people, because they are having certain degrees with themselves, they have spent on their education, they have invested all these years on their education, so they wait for the right opportunity to join the join the labor market and then only start working. That is why they are left behind when they are not able to add up to the skills of the job required. So again, that is a problem associated with human capital formation. And when these resources go waste, then it leads to serious inefficiencies. So in case of unemployment, their capabilities are either not made use of or they are underutilized. In case of underemployment, like you are, because you didn't get any job now, so maybe you have opened a petty shop in the market and you're selling little groceries or just general things, anything. You were just graduated, you completed your bachelor's, but you couldn't find any work, so you started your own petty shop or anything where you have not been able to utilize your capacities to its maximum level. So in that case, you are underemployed, you are not working to your full potential. You could work more if you had got some more work, some good work. So massive illiteracy, non-education of many children, poor health facilities, there are other inefficiencies which have not been attended to adequately and properly. So few inefficiencies were unemployment and underemployment, and then illiteracy, the people who are just not able to receive any education, non-education of many children, and poor health facilities. These are other inefficiencies in our country. Next, which is very important, brain drain, which we have talked before also, that people, they just leave their country, and because they find their caliber high enough to serve in some developed country, so they become these non-resident Indians and they serve other places. So this leads to loss of quality people in our country. We get lack of people like doctors, engineers, and all these who have high caliber. So they are rare in a developing country because they go to some other place in search of better job opportunities, better standard of living, handsome salaries. So this is brain drain, that the brain of our country is draining. We are having a drain, we are having a shortage of the good brain in our country. The cost of such loss of quality human capital is very high for any country. If educated people leave the country and they serve other country, then it is going to benefit the other country. It is not going to benefit their country. Now, if you see all these people, they just want to come back to their nation and they want Indian government to, help them and just you know get them free from their places wherever they were working. They just all want to return to their own nation and live here in, if when the world is facing a crisis, so now they remember their own country. And it was Indian government only which made efforts, which had those special flights for evacuating such people who were left on board, who were missing their nation, who really wanted to come back. Many countries in the world denied that they would not be calling their citizens, their residents back from other countries who are working wherever, just keep working there. US denied, UK denied, many countries denied, but Indian government especially arranged for such flights to evacuate people from abroad. So one should always have a respect for one's own country. If you want to do something good, something big, just do for your own country. Next, high growth of population. It is also one of the problems. This has adversely affected the quality of human capital. You can easily relate to this problem in context of India because it reduces per head availability of facilities. Whatever number of colleges, institutions, whatever amount government is spending in total in the on education and health, it is not less. Let us suppose the amount is not less, but when we divide it by total population, then it is, then it becomes very less because the per head availability falls. Per head availability of all these facilities is one of the least in our countries in the world actually. Otherwise, the total number of amount which the government is spending is not less, but because of the huge population, the denominator becomes less, which reduces the per head availability of facilities in our country. Next, several imbalances. A greater proportion of resources have been diverted towards higher education, which is meant for few people actually, because people after receiving some school education they just go for jobs and all because their economic condition does not allow them to uh, spend more years in education. They have to look after their family's financial needs and all. So the point is actually saying that government is diverting its resources more towards tertiary education now, which is meant for few people as compared to primary and secondary education. Due to this reason, general productivity of the economy has remained low. But now it is important that government should think beyond elementary education and keep spending on tertiary education also. Okay, next is just a minute. Yeah. Next is lack of proper manpower planning. There is an imbalance between the demand and supply of human resources of various categories, especially in the case of highly skilled personnel, that is people, staff. The absence of such balancing has resulted in the wastage of resources. I don't know if you have got the point or not. The point says, okay, we have educated people and all that. We have supply of human resource, but the kind of demand that we have is of highly skilled people, and that we lack. The supply of highly skilled people is very less. There are people who have got degrees, especially these BTech degrees and all that. Right now, unemployment is highest among people who have done their BTech in some or the other field because they are just spending their 4 years of education from maybe the university. The curriculum is not good enough to employ them. Their skills are not good enough to crack through the interviews they have for the jobs. So they actually lack this highly skilled personnel kind of thing even after doing their engineering and spending 4 years. So absence of such balancing is there in our country. We do have educated people, but they still lack skills and talents for getting some job. So this has resulted in the wastage of resources of our country. Had the system been devised wisely, had the curriculum been framed wisely, then these people would not have been suffering. These people's talents would not have been wasted. It would not have just gone like that. We would have made good use of this their talent otherwise if we had taught them rightly. So this is what it says: lack of proper manpower planning. Manpower is wasted in our country because they lack skills. Then weak science and technology. In respect of education, the performance is particularly unsatisfactory in the fields of science and development of modern technology. But now we are actually, I don't agree to this point. We are developing in terms of science and technology every day now. Every day, new achievements, new discoveries, and new inventions are taking place, which are helping people solve their problems and make more progress, be it agriculture, industries, or services. We are using good use of technology now. We are making good use of technology. So these were all the problems we did related to human capital formation. insufficient resources, which was this basically, that we are not spending enough on our health and education as compared to what is required. Serious inefficiencies are there. People are wasted, unemployed, underemployed, illiteracy. These are inefficiencies. Brain drain, when people leave their places and serve other countries. So it is a loss of human capital, big loss for, and it leads to fall in economic growth. Then high growth of population is also an obstacle in the way of human capital formation, because it reduces per head availability of facilities. Imbalances are there. Demand of highly skilled personnel is there, but the supply does not match. Lack of proper manpower planning. There is not enough utilization of the existing educated people because they lack skills and all. And this last is weak science and technology, that our performance is particularly unsatisfactory in respect of education. So to a certain extent, yes, we can agree to the fact that education, obviously, yes, we could have have more practical viewpoint to everything that we have been reading these days. So yeah, to a certain extent, we can agree to this point also. I hope these all problems are clear. You can just go through them once again, take proper notes, rewind if you want to understand anything which has not been clear. Okay, I hope we are ready to go to the next topic. Fine. Next is section 5.7 of the chapter of human capital and human development. The two terms may be sounding very similar to you all, but they actually have a difference. Just try to give 1 minute, read the point, and then let me help you explain this and understand this. Just try, before I speak anything on this topic, please read it for a minute. Spend just 1 minute on reading the paragraph. Okay, see, the terms human capital and human development sound similar, but there is a clear distinction between them. Human capital considers education and health as a means to increase labor productivity. This is very important. See, what is the difference between human capital and human development? What does human capital say? Human capital say that human beings are important because they are going to increase country's productivity. They are going to lead to more economic growth in the country. Okay, but human development says that education and health are important. Human beings are important. Education and health are important because it is important to live a life which is healthy, which has got values, which where you are able to make your own choices, where you are able to have a social standing and all that. But human capital sees education and health just as a medium of increasing people's productivity. So for human capital, if your education and health is not going to, increase the output of goods and services in the country, then any investment in your education and health is waste, according to human capital. you know, today you people are spending your money on your education and health, you're spending on food, you're spending on school's fees and everything. But if tomorrow you are not going to enhance your output of goods and services, tomorrow if you're not going to contribute to country's production of goods and services, then all this investment is waste as per human capital. But as per human development, even if you're not able to, work tomorrow, even if you're not able to contribute to monetary production of the country, if even if you're not going to have any monetary gain from your investment in education and health, then also your education and health are integral part of yourself, because it is directly related to your welfare. Okay, even if it is not going to increase any labor productivity, then also your education and health are important, because it is going to help you lead a healthy life. It is going to help you lead a life full of satisfaction, where you can feel happy, where you can enjoy stuff and everything. So human capital is very narrow concept. It just sees humans as a way of increasing country's productivity, just like physical capital. This land is waste from physical capital's point of view if it is not going to increase country's productivity. This machine is waste if it is not going to add to country's productivity. This tool is of no use if it is not going to add to goods and services. And in the same manner, human capital is also a factor of production, and if that human is not able to contribute to production, that human is waste according to human capital, but not according to human development. So human development is a more broader concept as compared to human capital. Let us now just see this. Human capital considers education and health as a means to increase labor productivity. On the other hand, this is the first point. Write this point in terms of column, make columns, and just write the difference in the tabular form. Okay, so this is the first difference. On the capital side, you will write, according to human capital, education and health are a means to increase labor productivity. According to human development, on the other hand, education and health, they are integral, that is, they are important to human well-being. So even if they are not increasing our productivity, it is important for our well-being. It is important for us to feel, it is education and health are important for us to keep feeling good, about our physical and mental health. you know all the housewives and all that, according to human capital, their investment in education and health is waste, because they are not leading to increase their productivity. According to human capital, they are not contributing to country's goods and services, because all these household work, if they are doing for the family and they're not earning back for it, it is not counted in country's GDP. You must be knowing about it. It is a non-economic activity. But still, their education and health, according to human development, is an important part to their well-being. We all are proud of our mom's education, even if they're not working outside and fetching money for the family. We still want their good health. We still like if they are all educated and stuff, if they all have received some good education, but due to some circumstances they were not able to take part in labor market. It's okay. Okay, because why human development considers education and health as integral to human well-being? Because only when people have the ability to read and write and lead a long and healthy life, then they will be able to make other choices which they value. Obviously, basic education, basic health, everybody needs in life. Good health and ability to read and write, everybody needs. Otherwise, you will not be able to live a life of good value. It is important. Only if you are educated, you'll be able to read good. You'll be able to read newspapers, understand the news written in them, watch television, take have the clarity of everything being shown there, understand everything, take wise decisions, because your education had taught you that. So your education makes you a good human being, even if it is not leading to your productivity levels. So I hope this is clear now. First, this is the first point. According to human capital, education and health are a means to increase labor productivity. According to human development, education and health are integral to human well-being. Because only when people have the ability to read and write, they will be able to make other choices which they value. Second point, human capital treats human beings as a means to increase in productivity. Any investment in education and health is unproductive, is waste according to human capital if it does not, sorry, if it does not enhance output of goods and services. Any investment in education and health is unproductive if your education and health could not help you enhance the output of goods and services in the country. However, according to human development, human beings are ends in themselves. Okay, according to human development, human beings are the end. They need to develop. Goods and services don't need to develop. Human beings need to develop. And according to human capital, human beings are a medium. According to human development, human beings are themselves the end of the cycle. Try to understand. Um, According to human capital, see, it is going to be it is going to be education, health, and then it is going to lead to good productivity. Like we are going to use human beings to lead good productivity. Fine, but according to, and then only it is good. We will use good education of human beings to lead to good productivity. But as per human development, their education and health is actually going to help them lead a good life, and the end product would be not good productivity but good human beings. So as per human capital, as per human development, human beings are ends in themselves. This productivity would not be there. Okay, education and health are actually going to have good human beings. It is going to help make people a good human. So this is the difference between the two terms. This is the upper one is about human capital, that education and health are important for increasing for increasing productivity of the country. And according to human development, education and health are important for making human beings you know good enough, helping them lead a good life and all those things. Okay. Therefore, according to human development perspective, every individual has a right to get basic education and basic healthcare, irrespective of whether you are contributing to labor's productivity or not. Your education and your health is your basic right. That is why nowadays we count these education and health among the basic necessities. Apart from roti, kapda, and makan, that is clothing, food, clothing, and shelter, we count education and health also as among the basic necessities of the people. It means every individual has a right to be literate and lead a healthy life. This is according to human development. So one difference you can add, that human capital is a narrow concept and human development is a wider concept. According to human capital, human beings are a means, मतलब human beings को ही एक tool, we are using them as a tool to increase country's productivity. And according to human development, human beings are ends in themselves. They are not the medium, they are themselves the end of that cycle. We have to make them happy, we have to make them live a good life. Their well-being is important, even if these investments do not result in higher productivity. This is important. So this was the difference between the two terms, human capital and human development. I hope it is important. The terms were similar, but they had a different approach towards human beings. It sees human beings just as a medium to increase country's productivity, and it sees human beings as ends in themselves, that their development is important for their well-being and not for any monetary gain. So I think that's all for today. I hope everything is clear. In the next class, we will be talking about um, what is the need for government to intervene in health and educational sectors, and we are going to see which um, organizations look after the education and health sectors of the country. And then we are going to study one sector of India in detail, that is educational sector. What has been the growth over all these years, what has been the changes, which are the important points about government expenditure and growth, on growth in education. All those points we are going to take. So it will take still some time. The chapter will take some time. I hope it is all clear. Just go through the class, read whatever was not clear, complete all your notes. Thank you so much. Till then, take care. God bless you all. See you in the next class.